Now I would like to introduce our today's guest, Dr. Jyoti Pawar ma'am. She has done MA, LLM, PMP, PhD from the Nagpur University. She is the assistant professor at Siagat Institute of Business Administration. She is the experience and education background in the field of the teaching. Apart from the teaching, she is being a social worker and also volunteer part of various seminars, conference to share her knowledge to contribute back to back the society. She has taken 100 plus successful workshops like the data analysis workshop on labor laws, ethics and clinical research and so on. Now I request to Dr. Jyoti Powerman to address our students.
Good morning all. Good morning dear faculty members, Dr. Vidya, Dr. Megha. Megha is not yet doctor? Okay. And other faculty members and your in charge, my friend Dr. Manisha Kumbar Madam. I'm really happy to be here today's August gathering for all my dear students who wanted to learn and to hear about the human rights, which is a universal right given to us by the natural rights given by God itself. So myself, Dr. Jyoti Pawar, done my masters in human rights and international law, and as she has introduced me as I'm a social worker, I was an elected member of Pune city, and I was having privilege to actually to work social work with authority. We are having one act which names as the important act, Human Rights Act 1993. But my session, altogether some of the slides which has given emphasis on the basis of our human rights, which has a base in international covenant or international conventions of the civil, political, economical and cultural rights of individual and of the universe. So what is this natural right? In our simple words, it is roti, kapda and makan, which is being called as a natural rights, which is given by God. Marathi मध्ये झालं ज्यांनी चोच दिली तो दाणा देतो असं म्हणतात. So this is all about the important aspect of our human rights or of the basic rights of the humanity, and in our constitution which we have from 1950 after our independence from 1947 to 1950, all our forefathers, stalwarts was being led by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. The next week on 14th of April we are having his Jayanti, and we all are really honored and to have the best constitution of the world. Our constitution is a very rigid, very lengthy constitution, but this constitution has given privileges for the underprivileged people, that is women's, workers and children. So many of the rights are given to them and is being protected, their rights for the purposes of the humanity. Indian culture is one of the great culture, or rather it is, I can say it is the greatest culture of the world. When we talk about the Greek culture, before that we are having our culture is the greatest culture, wherein we are trying to protect everyone. In our family now we are having the nuclear families. Earlier we used to have the families which is being called as joint families. When we need to protect, and the protection is being given nothing but the human rights, or the human rights is being protected. All our chacha, mama, nana, nani, dada, dadi, who is a very elderly, or who are the bachelors, or who may be the widows, or any of them are the spinsters and all that, they all were being considered as a part of the family. Today also we are trying, and for that purposes we are always being given the important aspect of the human rights. That's why the Constitution of India has emphasized on a very important aspect of protection of the human rights. The human rights in a very 5 important phases. At the international level we are having a very important document that is being called as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. What it is? Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So it is a declaration for all the universe and all the people of this world, wherein we have to protect the mankind, the human beings. All over the world it was a bloodshed after 1945, and we need to give the protection for the mankind. It may be the refugees, it may be the elderly people, it may be the oldies, it may be any people who are being called as stateless people. You and me are being called as an Indian citizen because it is being written in our constitution, your and my parents are Indians, and we are having this particular aspect which is being defined. In law, everything is being defined. The act of a person, that is being a kruti. The person who, whatever he does that particular act, the act, if it is correct act, you are being given award. If it is a wrong act, you are being punished for that. That is being called as a wrongdoer. Over here, when we talk about the constitutional rights, the extraordinary rights are given to us by our constitution. Extraordinary rights. I can underline this. When I say that in that case, my rights of fundamental rights is even protected in part 3 of my constitution. Part 4 of my constitution speaks about the directive principles of the state policy. It is for the Sarkar what they should do. They should protect the environment. They should take care of my rivers, canals and all the water sources as well as all the emoluments. Then the big forest, that is also very important. We do have an act which is being called as the Forest Act. Now the protection of the forest it is a very compulsory duty in the constitution given to the state. It is for the state to give you and me a job, that is being called as a right of survival. Right of survival is a very basic right or the principal right which has to be protected by the state. It is for the state to protect my right. So in our constitution, first of all, we are having the fundamental rights. There are various freedoms is given to us. For me, if I want to narrate something, if I want to say something, I am having right of freedom of speech and expression. The expression should not be a defamation to someone. You understand that? So what is defamation? Defamation again it is being defined in our penal code, that is Indian Penal Code, as well as it is a civil wrong. If you commit any wrong, if I say that Vidya madam is not a good lady, if I say that, then it amounts to a defamation because all of us, we know that she is a very best teacher, she is a very good human being by heart. I know her from last 20 years. So this is what, when I talk something about someone, then in that case it amounts to defamation. That's why whatever the freedoms are given to me, I have to protect the dignity of the others. What is the dignity? Now the dignity is a very important aspect in the lives of ours, as well as we have to protect the rights of the others. It is a vice versa. Respect is reciprocal. If you give respect, you gain respect. Okay? So likewise, we are having various freedoms which is given to us in our constitution, and our constitution is a very important constitution. It's a very wide constitution. It is a very rigid constitution, but still we are having many of the amendments to this constitution. The very latest amendment to this constitution made to us for the purposes of upliftment of the human right. Under Article 32 of our constitution, anybody can go and knock the doors of the judiciary. Under Article 226, anyone can go and knock the doors of the high courts of that particular state and can file public interest litigation. Public interest litigation in the interest of the public. So I am using this highway while taking turn to the college, and I felt with that as a Punekar, I am a Punekar, so I pay taxes and all this area is covered under the Pune Municipal Corporation now. So when I pay taxes, I want the safety of my life, and the road traffic is jammed, and that's why I am getting late every day to my college. So in that case, I make a public interest litigation. Filing nearest High Court is Mumbai for Pune. So I am filing the litigation in Mumbai High Court saying that I want, because I pay the road tax. If you are a Punekar or if you belongs to any of the place, you please check the tax receipt. That is also the human right of an individual. The person or the people who are staying in that particular area, it is their right, and it is for whom to protect. It is for the PMC to protect your right, to give you fresh water, air, and there should be street lights. There should be safety and security. Yesterday, in the newspaper, they have mentioned in the Times of India about the security of the women, of the girls. Pune is one of the very important hub for IT. And as we know that many girls who are coming from outside, from Maharashtra, and within Maharashtra, if they are coming to Pune and taking education, and from all over the globe, actually, the students are coming in Pune for their upliftment in the field of education, because nice institutions are there. One of the best place, that's why it is being called as an Oxford of the East, Pune University. Okay, so for the purpose of that, the security of the girls, security of the females, security of the women is very important. That is one of the very important fundamental right. Along with that, it is basically the human rights. This is a very important aspect. This is a very important document or the gist of our preamble. Our preamble says that it is a justice. Justice is economical, political and social. How the economical justice is given to these dear girls? Because they are having empowerment of the women. If I say the empowerment of the women, sabalikaran, baikancha sabalikaran jala apan manto, it is not a sabalikaran. All the girls over here, they will say that, madam, please, we are very strong, we are very, because we are in Pune and Savitribai Phule has given the education to us, to all of us. That's why I am standing over here. The education right is a basic right which is being recognized as a social right and civil right in our constitution and in Universal Declaration of Human Rights. When the framers of our constitution written our constitution, they have taken into consideration all the important aspects of the social life. Upliftment of society and at par giving the justice to everyone, that is very important. So we don't have any discrimination of caste, color, read or anything, or religion also. Equality before law and equal protection of law, Article 14 of our constitution gives us what? The equality. Equality in the status, equality in the opportunity, equality in the profession, equality in the education as well as equality in the employment also. Rather, it is a reservation quota is being given to the girls in the education as well as the employability is also being offered to the girls because they are being understood as an underprivileged for that matter in our constitution. That's why it is a social justice. It is a justice which is being called as a political justice. The 78th and 77th amendment to the constitution made by then Prime Minister Mr. Rajiv Gandhi given the opportunity to 33% reservation in the Panchayat Raj. And I am a result of it. Rather, I was a contested election, won the election on Shankar Shet Road, and I was a corporator for 1 tenure. So that is a justice which is being given at par for the females. And now we are having almost 50% reservation in politics for the females. So this is all about the upliftment of the masses, giving the equality. That's why it is being called as justice. Justice is universal. Justice is above all. Law is above all. No one is above law. What is supremacy of law is important, and it is there. That minister lady Kundimoli having 2,000 crores of rupees in her account actually. Samata, Mamata, Jayalalitha all were behind the bars. Then Prime Minister Mrs. Gandhi was also behind the bars for 3 days. This is what when we call it as an Kaida se Rajya. Okay? So when we talk about the social, economical and political justice, then we talk about the liberty of thoughts and expression. So whatever the thought process of yours, you can express your thoughts, but it should not be against the public policy. It should not be against any of the defamation of anyone. It should not be creating the disharmony. What is the disharmony? The disharmony of that particular aspect of any of the community. A day before yesterday, not day before yesterday, on Gudi Padwa, Mr. Raj mentioned about Bonga. Then he mentioned about Hanuman Chalisa. Now, it is an issue which is being called as a communal disharmony issue. Please, students, understand this. What is a communal disharmony? It is about the two different religions who are having the personal acts are prevail in this country. We are not calling ourselves Hindu community like a Nepal. Now, Nepal is also not calling themselves as a Hindu Raj. You get my point? You understand this? So this is very important aspect of it. Then we are being called ourselves as a secular country. सार्वभौमत्व जे आहे देशाचं हे त्याच्यामध्ये जडलेलं आहे. So what is a secularity? What is a secularity? Excuse me, behind you, next to you. What is secularity, my dear? You. Secularity म्हणजे काय? Google वर सापडणार नाही ते. हा? So don't do that. Surfing on your mobile. So this is a secular nation wherein you are having right of expression of thought, expression of your conduct and everything. Only thing is that you should not disturb the other community's value system, and it should not be discriminating or making a nuisance. गोंधळ निर्माण करण्याची परिस्थिती तुमच्या वाक्यांमुळे किंवा तुमच्या कुठल्या शब्दांमुळे होता कामा नये. So that is what is important of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship. If I want to convert myself in any other religion, can I do that? Yes, I can. Dharmendra Hemamalini's case, and very important case is Sarla Mudgal's case. Sarla Mudgal's husband converted himself in the Muslim religion only for the marriage, which is wrong, absolutely wrong. So this is a very important case under Article 21 of Constitution when it talks about the right to life and liberty. I have a right to life and liberty. I can roam, but when I go out, my security and my safety is very important as a female, because my structure is different than boy. So this is the duty of the government to look after my safety and security. For example, in our country, in Maharashtra, we are having the Bombay Police Act, Mumbai Pratibandha Kaida. Now, under that, the law and order machinery is being protected by whom? By the Sarkar, by the state government, and it is their duty. So, when I talk about my liberty should not. In the Nirvay's case, when the discussion was going on all over the country, and globally also that particular case was being discussed about the security of the female, in that case, it is being understood that why you are roaming midnight. So, whether it is my liberty, no, liberty as you can take. Liberty of thought and expression is different, but liberty of life is different. When I say that my liberty of life is that I want to go abroad, I am a Karishma Kapoor and my passport is being confiscated by my husband, for example. And in that case, her passport was being confiscated by her husband. That is, the liberty of her was being taken away by her husband. A very, very famous case of Maneka Gandhi's. Maneka Gandhi's case, wherein Maneka's passport was being infringed, taken away by the passport authority when it was being given for the renovation. That time she and Mrs. Gandhi, senior Mrs. Gandhi, Indira Gandhi, was having fight. Sasu bahu ka jhagda chal raha tha. Now she applied a writ petition in Delhi High Court saying that it is against my right of life and liberty. And the judgment given in favor of Maneka Gandhi saying that Article 21 of my constitution tells me that I have a right, and where that right is being taken for just, fair and reasonable. Right is just, fair and reasonable. It should be fair. When I say that I am an independent citizen of this country, I wanted to go out, then my passport should not be infringed. Only it is being politicized, influenced by someone who is sitting in the authority. This is Gita, this is Bible, this is Quran for us. Because the gist of our constitution, gist of our human rights is being mentioned in our preamble. Then as I mentioned about the equality of the status, there is no discrimination between boy and girl. There is no discrimination about anyone, any religion also. Rather, the underprivileged people, for the SC, ST, VJNT, all of the students, the government gives the promotion by giving what? Scholarships. On behalf of the student, the government pays the scholarship to the institute like this, and they are being uplifted, the masses are being uplifted. We used to have the 4 Varna system, and that is being eradicated absolutely in our country. I don't want to know ki Vidya Madam chi zaat kutli. I don't want to know. Because it is a discrimination, and the discrimination is not accepted in our constitution. That is actually a basic human right. In many of the corporates, just wanted to know about your name. What is your name, dear? Omkar. I just wanted to know Omkar, and I call him by his first name only. That's all. In HR department, he may have all his kundli over there by having for that purposes of incoming, that is for the recruitment and for the continuous, for the appraisals and everything. His all information is uploaded in the soft system, and then in that case the payment is being given accordingly. But all other things is not necessary in corporates. Why? Because it is all about the liberty of the thought process. Then about the fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and assuring the fraternity of the nation. Ek sangha, desh ashna खूप जास्त महत्त्वाचा आहे. So integrity of the nation is very, very important. What is important? Otherwise, what happens if there is no integrity? Then it is an offense against the government. This our constitution is having a lot of impact of the Britishers. All our laws, your Indian Contract Act, 1872, all our labor laws is made by the Britishers. And we are continuing with that till last year. Now we are having amalgamation of all 40 labor laws, and we are having the social justice bill is being introduced in the house. And moreover, we will have such an act which was made by them in 19th century. Because we used to have the East India Company, and uske baad, you know the history of the industrialization and the growth of industrialization. wherein we need to have the might is right. It was a tremendous exploitation. That's why the UNO has taken this particular logo wherein it protects the civil right. It protects the rights of the adolescent. It protects the rights of the minors. It protects the rights of the women workers. In 1866, when this UDHR was being written, at that time, the rights of the females was being protected first time in United States of America. First time, the women workers. Now the women workers and the male workers, whether it is a discrimination, it is not. But rather, under the Maternity Benefit Act, very recently it is being amended in 2017, that is being passed in 1956. Uske baad it is being latest amended in 1917, wherein 6 months paid leave is being given. Why? It is a civil right. It is a right for the female as a motherhood and for the child to have a parenthood and to have a gatti of mother and child and to give a safety and security to women who is working women. Okay? In my slides I am talking about Sexual Harassment Act also for the females, and it is not only for my dear girls, it is to know to my boys also over here who are sitting and going to be a part of the corporate tomorrow. So you need to know, you need to protect your own dignity, that is what is important. So the UNO's slogans or UNO's logo tells us about the civil rights, political rights, social rights and economical rights. When I tell that my dear child will get an education, and in that case, if I as a Sarkar or a government, I am not giving any opportunity to her to upliftment for the employability is not available for her. We all know the case of Sudha Murthy ji. When she applied to Tata's and then it was being mentioned that it is only for the male member. She fought with him, and she's a teacher basically. So she is in my fraternity. So that's why I respect her a lot. And she mentioned it very frankly that why it is only for the males. In a democratic country like in India, when we talk about the democracy for the people and of the people, and then in that case, why it is a discrimination and when I am eligible. So all the girls over here with the boys, they will get the same degree from University of Pune because the imparting of the education is the same, equal. It is for the individual how to take. What is will be the takeaway home. That is up to individual. These are some fundamental rights which is being given in our constitution. So this is all about right to equality, right, the fundamental right of religion. You can adopt any religion. If you have, like under the Hindu Marriage Act, if I am a Hindu, I have to marry Hindu man. Under the Special Marriage Act, I can marry any man. Okay? So I can convert myself. For that purposes, we are having certain laws for converting my religion. But it should not be for that self-interest, like in Sarla Mudgan's case, I mentioned it to you, and then Dharmendra Hema Malini's case also. Now this case of the next fundamental freedom, that is freedom from the exploitation. As I mentioned very slightly about the exploitation from the Britishers, as they were the rurals and cruel also at that time. So the industries was having a great growth of industrialization was at that time when they entered with the East India Company, and we all know about the history of India, wherein the growth of industrialization was at par. Mumbai and all the coastal area, Gujarat, over there we used to have the cotton mills because cotton was ample of cotton was available here, and of course indigo and tea. Today also we are having many tea industries which is being owned by the Britishers, and then it was being sold to the rich Indians. Okay. So for the purposes of that, when you talk about the industrialization and the growth of industrialization has achieved the growth by globalization and automation. You in the field of technology. You are the one who are the actually giving the great fortune for India tomorrow. You are the one who is IT, Indian Channel, okay, and Youth India. In 2020, we all were expecting the great Indians who will show us the path for the next 100 years. It may be the miles away, but for next 100 years, the great fantasy was expected from the engineers like you. You are equal to the engineers. So what is expected to us that the exploitation in any field is not at all is a part of our laws. Anything. The exploitation of the workers, exploitation of the women's, exploitation of the adolescent, exploitation of the apprentice, Child Labor Restraint Act into bracket Rehabilitation Act, what we are having in our country. So we don't expect, if you go outside you can see many child laborers. Rehabilitation is difficult. Eradication of child labor is more difficult in our country. That is what we need to accept it. Just accept it. So when we talk about the exploitation, it has been given in numerous our human rights, which has been called as an in labor law social justice legislation. Kamgar Kaide, Industrial Dispute Act, Factories Act, ESI Act, Bonus Act, Gratuity Act, PF Act, so on and so forth. More than 40 acts are there for plantation of the workers, for cinema workers, for this Bidi Kamgar workers, for Hamar Panchayats. We do have, I work for them. And for the migrant workers. You all know about the Shrama cards. Have you heard about the Shrama cards nowadays? Yes. So in the Shrama card, which is being given, right to movement is again a fundamental right. Right to movement. So any person who is from Jharkhand, from Bihar, from Uttar Pradesh can come in Maharashtra and can be a part and parcel what? Of the construction site. In this your highway, many construction sites are going on. In Pune or now Pune Mumbai ke beech mein hai hum log to it is a Mumbai where we are having many construction sites which is being banned, which is being. Thank you, Moshe. Bas hai. Ye bina ho. Thank you. So when we talk about this, in the second phase of lockdown, you must have seen from the Bandra railway station, more than 30 lakh Kamgar wanted to go back. Just think about the strength. Just think about these construction companies. Just think about the business. You are a management student. So you need to understand the economy behind it. Economy of the builders. Economy of people who are able to purchase the flat. The purchasing power of the individual. So you, my dear students of tomorrow's all IT engineers, and you will work in the industries, in corporate, in a very high salaries. I wish you for all the best for that. And really you will do the best. Because in this particular 10-20 years, we are having many companies, or when we talk about the mixed economy, which has been given to us by Dr. Manmohan Singh, actually. And then we are having the upliftment of the privatization in the government stack. So that's why there are numerous companies who are coming here and they are giving what? The best. They are ready to invest. So ultimately, the newcomers who are coming to the city, they wanted to occupy the residence, and ultimately we need to have the good residential zones. You get my point? Again, it goes back to the business. And then it comes to you also, because you are the one who can give the good costing. You are the one who can give the good infrastructural value system, or the system which is being said, which is being given from your technology. Technology is everywhere. In farming also, the technology, IT is involved or evolved everywhere. That is also human right. Today, if you go on the road and if I want to take some vegetables or fruit from Bhajiwala, so on that Hadladi also he is having that Paytm ka card usne lagaya hai. He knows it. Don't you think, my dear students, that it is an upliftment of the knowledge? Standard of living is high. Not ours, for him also. Because then in that case he goes to the bank and he do the digital banking. E-governance. E-governance in IT Act 2000, very important aspect. Because it gives us the transparency. My admission, Jyoti Pawar get 90% marks in CT. And Omkar get 92%. But Jyoti Pawar ka naam uske upar hai. What will happen? What? काय करणार? ओंकार काय करशील? काही नाही करणार? If your admission is not being done, it is transparent system ना, सब system में दिखता है. Any you just click. पहले pandemic में एक लड़की was sitting in the interiors of Konkan, in the teen shed, पत्राच्या shed मध्ये बसून ती मुलगी pharmacyची मुलगी, she was doing her some of her experiments and her classes she was doing. And it was a very big news, and all channels had shown it for 2 days, that particular news. That is the IT. That is the beauty of this technology. That is a human right. In this modern age, what is a human right? That you should get all the information on click of one finger, which is available to us. By whom? By whom it is being available? Is it easy to get the things on the tip of the finger? It is not. It is a will and wish of the people who are sitting in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, in the upper house and lower house. And it is very important for the country to make the laws for that purposes. I would like to give one example over here. We are having the MTP Act, medical termination of pregnancy for the girls. If she is not willing to be pregnant, there are a number of cases also there. If she is being compelled to have a pregnancy, and if she is not willing, she get the opportunity to go to US for one project. Now these IT girls or the MCA girls always get the opportunity to go abroad. Rather than that is the target. In my family is half of the family stays in United States from last 40 years. Both my brothers, they are the scientists in the field of technology. Now the girl is being said that you are not supposed to go to USA because just you are newly married 2 years back, now we want pota poti. And it is a case, the girl filed an application in the court that it is her right, and if she is being compelled to do the medical termination of pregnancy, then it is an offence under section 306 of Indian Penal Code. If they found that it is in the womb of the mother, a girl child is there. MTP Act Made, we are having the very important aspect, that is the sonography. And in the sonography, it is being shown the sex of the child. And in the sex of the child, if it is a female, that's why the ratio in Maharashtra was also gone down, and it was being reported by the government that the ratio of females is gone down in Maharashtra, which is very horrible. Maharashtra, very the Santanchi Bhumi and Purogami Vicharache lok आहेत, तरी सुद्धा it happened. So it is very, very dangerous for the next generation. That is what I feel. Don't you think that it's a human right of an individual girl to take it? And for that purposes, it is being called as an offence. So what is important in human rights, that is gender inequalities, we don't accept it at all. We don't accept it at all. We want the equality of the status. We want the opportunities to be equal. We want the status to be given to all individuals as an equal. So these are some of the examples of gender inequality. That is also related to the human rights. That is what I was giving the example of the rate of mortality of the female fetus. If the child in the womb of the mother is female and if she's been compelled to do the abortion, it amounts to an offense. But in our country, it is being said that if I am having a son, then it is a pious obligation amongst Hindus. If he liked me, माझ्या मृत्यूनंतर जर त्यांनी मला डाग दिला म्हणतात मराठीमध्ये, तर I will get the heaven, which is a very, very wrong concept, because the cultural impact, the religious impact was really very more earlier. Okay, so these are the very important aspect of giving the opportunities. So what is human right ultimately? You are being बेटी की शादी के लिए और बेटे के education के लिए. The LIC used to give the advertisement. So in our country, बेटी की शादी is very important. It is not, actually not. Let her get education, and then nowadays I have seen the girls are far much better, and rather they are equally having those responsibility. All over the world, the best CEOs are ladies. It is being proved. United States has given the research report for that purposes. The CEOs, we all know about Indira Nooyi and forget about Indira Kochar, but some of the ladies who have done the extraordinary work in the field of corporates, because she is very sincere in her task, naturally, because she knows how much pinch of salt to be put into that sabzi. That is what is the beauty of her, because she has having that analysis mind is very important. In your field also, analyzing or the analyst mind or the thought process is very important. I'm having many slides, so we are trying to skip some of the explanation, whichever is more important and essential. That is because since morning I know that you was busy with the session. Half of the students, the madam told me they have. So, but you are having examination, and wherein we have to submit the marks to the university, the grades. And if you have in between any questions, please note it down. We'll have a question answer session. Any doubt of anything, not necessarily about law, but anything, you can note it down. So I'm talking about the gender justice. I'm talking about the gender equality. I'm talking about the human rights is given about, because in the world, male and female, they are the two important components of this society who will be given the growth for everything. Because they are the one who is being given the responsibility to have a good life for the others. So when we talk about the social change, when we talk about the society, when we talk about the relationship between man and women, it should be healthy. If you and me are learned, elite class of society, and if my neighbor is not understanding what is the importance of the standard of life, then I have to tell him that the wet garbage and sukka garbage, you have to keep it aside. Nowadays, on television, one advertisement, that bacha is sitting in that garbage का container और कहता है कि आगे चल के मम्मी मैं आप मुझे क्या दोगे कि सारी दुनिया में गार्बेज हो जाएगा फिर मैं I am the garbage. Now consider me as in garbage and that bacha is sitting in that garbage ka container. If you are using the petrol, now petrol ka rate is 114 rupees, 120 rupees. Isn't it? So in future we won't get the petrol for the next generation. Just think about 2-3 generations. So what is important over here? It is all about the justice to be given at all level and giving the comparison to all and to create the dignity. What we see actually, and then we try to protect or try to check that person, and what is being seen to my eyes, now this glass is half empty and half full. So when I talk about the justice system, at least in the democratic country like in India, we can take example of the neighboring country. Last Sunday, tomorrow is Sunday, last Sunday, what happened in that country, and before that, at least 1 month, a tremendous disturbance was there. There is no guarantee of life. If you are going out, there is no guarantee of a person, he will come alive. Sham ko ghar wapas aayega ke nahi, koi. And then the neighboring country, Sri Lanka, Nepal, the SAARC country, just imagine, my dear children, that we are in India, we are born as an Indians, they are very lucky. Amongst Asians also. What is happening in China, children are not ready to marry. So what will happen to the next generation? They won't have. In Japan, in pandemic, 50-80, the person who is 85-year-old, the oldies is looking after for the person who is in 50s. Because the person who is in 50s, he is mentally disturbed. So he is unable to work. So the father and mothers, they are looking after their children. It is horrible. So what is important for us? That's why it is always being said that we are having a lot of responsibility. Rather, we are having a lot of opportunities also. Okay? So that is what is important for us, class, that we have to see the best. We have to do the best. That is the human right. When you are good, you are creating the goodness in the society. And your vibes, whatever you are giving to others, is good. And ultimately, you are a part and parcel of the society. Man is a social animal. That is the definition given in our constitution, in our sociology. So we are putting forward, or we are looking forward for the great opportunity to the mankind. माणसांनी माणसासाठी केलेली आहे ती लोकशाही. लोकांनी लोकशाहीसाठी जगलं पाहिजे. So ultimately what is important, that humans are very important. That's why we have to see the best, and accordingly we need to respect both of them, men and women. So as I mentioned earlier, that class, creed and the caste, these are some of the impediments, which is the impediments, and accordingly we have to eradicate. Rather, our constitution has eradicated, finished it, and that's why we are having the equality in all sense. There is no discrimination. Only the discrimination was given in the Indian Army services. Now we are having 2 batches of the ladies or the girls. Commandos to pehle se hai. Now in front also the girls can go. We are having 2 in this 26 January. That particular platoon also march in the parade on 26 Jan. Even I did. I am really very proud to tell you that I did the RD parade on that. Thank you. So this is very prestigious. It is for my nation. What I was an NCC cadet and I was being selected as an RD parade candidate, or it is being NCC. It is being called as a cadet. So nowadays we don't have that discrimination at all. So in each and every field, the opportunity has been given by the government, and the opportunity will give for the purposes of the upliftment of the classes and masses. That is very important. That's why it is being considered as a very, very important human right. Three important phases are there. First, I told you in the beginning, natural rights, which is being given by the God, Roti, Kapra and Makan. Then the self-esteem right, self-image. Okay, this is the second generation right. And the third generation right is self-development right. Self-esteem, I am having right which is being given to me by my constitution, article 15, article 16 talk about the right to education, free education. Till 12th free education to the girls, rather in Anganwadis and all that, that rice, khichdi and everything is being given for attraction of the children to the classes. Because we wanted to have the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. It was being introduced in 1990 all over the country and in Maharashtra. Then we used to have collector Mr. Avinash Dharmadhikari, who was a collector of the city. I worked with him in the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. It is for the interior parts we have to promote, because education is the only key in the democratic country to achieve success in the life. It is the only key, my dear children. So please concentrate everything. There should be something take away home. Jab bhi you are coming to the college, you should understand, and you are the one who are having the practical approach towards the education, which is very fantastic. I always like MCA course, and nowadays it is only 2 years course, right, madam? So it is a great opportunity for you to every day to learn and to understand the new technology, because in the field of technology sky is the limit for that. My son completed MS from Australia just now in data science, and he told me that, Mama, it's lot too many opportunities are there. Opportunities are all over the world, my dear class. So I wish you will also achieve those success. So what is important for us in human rights to understand the local, national level, as well as the totally about the understanding or to analyzing, to identifying the local and national. So national, what is the national level? We are having all laws which is being implemented in our country for the purposes of all India, at the all India level, right? That is being called as central laws. Now for the state of Maharashtra, can we make any laws? For the state of Maharashtra, we can make certain rules. Now all the acts which is being given at the central level, it is applicable to all Indians. Then for the state of Maharashtra, if the Maharashtra state wanted to form any rules or regulations, then they can make certain changes into that, but has to be informed to at the central ministry, law and judiciary department, as well as to be informed to the public at large. You understand the difference between bill and act. The bill which is being introduced or kept before the house, which is being discussed in the house, first of all in the Lok Sabha, then Rajya Sabha, it is being signed and sanctioned by the members who are sitting in the high command or in the high house or the big houses, and then it is being given to the public opinion, then it goes for the president's signature, and then it becomes act. The very important act I am going to discuss with you, that is about the Sexual Harassment Act, or the history behind that Sexual Harassment Act also I am going to inform. CEDAW is one of the very important organization which discuss about the discrimination against women. There should not be discrimination. Now you all know about the UN, I mentioned about, I shown you the logo also. So in UN, we are having the 17 to 18 agencies, FAO, UNICEF, okay, WHO, these are the agencies. In that, one of the very important agencies, that is CEDAW, which talk about there should not be any discrimination against women. More than $10 billion business per year, my dear students, is there all over the world of this human trafficking. Girls and the children's human trafficking. And then we are having other acts for us, that is, there should not be any discrimination and any humiliation for the children's, that is being called as a POSH Act, and Sexual Harassment Act, that I will explain you in short afterwards. So when we talk about the UN General Assembly, the first ever secretary of UN General Assembly was Kofi Annan, who was a refugee. And he used to show that, he's no more, but he used to show that certificate as a refugee, and he was a secretary for UN. In between, when we talk about the Ukraine and Russia war is going on, and then the Ukraine president, Vladimir, right? He says that please cancel this Secretary General and dissolve this particular organization, because it talks about the peace at the world. What do we want today? What we want? We are a signatory party to the UN. We Indians, okay? So Mrs. Gandhi was a very, very strong member when she was a Prime Minister of this country, and then we have continued. We have continued when Atalji was a Prime Minister of this country. We have signed on GATT. We talk about the IPR. Now the students of IT must be knowing about it, about the IT. What is IT for you? There is nothing to laugh. It will fall. It is पानी है, सूख जाएगा. जिसका बिल्कुल ध्यान नहीं, वो थोड़ा ध्यान दे. So when we talk about the IT, when we talk about these particular acts, it is globally, it is very important. These particular legislations are very important to protect the mankind. When we talk about the nuclear, when we talk about the Hiroshima, Nagasaki, then we talk about 9/11, when we talk about the 26/11, horrible. These are all wars against what? Humanity. What is the definition of terrorist? Whether it is the terrorism is there all over the world, yes it is. When we have arrested, who? To whom we have arrested in that 26/11? He was there, and we have spent crores of rupees for him, for his protection and his safety. Why? Because only thing is that we need to protect his, and we wanted to show, and we wanted to show to the world that he is from the neighboring country. He is from the neighboring country wherein they have agitators, or they are having the aggression from their side as a terrorist. There is no definition is being given in the international law of the terrorism. It is a mentality. It may be from any religion. And when we talk about these wars, when we talk about this terrorism, when we talk about the terrorist activities, they have no face. That is what the international law says. So it is all about the safety and security of all the globe. So what is important for us? We need to go, or we need to have the control of everything. Whatever is being given in UN, whatever is being given in our constitution, whatever is being given in the universe. And then we all are looking forward for what? What is the aim of our life? What we want? प्रशांत दामलेचं नाटक आहे, आनंद सुख म्हणजे काय असतं. Now that happiness, the whole world, people are going in Antarctica, people are going in Himalayas, and they are becoming sent. Why? They are in search of peace. Why? Peace is here in India. That is what we have proved to the world at large. That's why people are coming from abroad. They are the members of our Sri Ravi Shankar Maharaj. Then there are many groups are here, which is being called as spiritual groups, and they are joining. ISKCON में कितने लोग हैं Americans? Why they are coming? Why our palki and that particular yatra, which has been called as our Varkari Samaj and all that? Why? It is all about the human right. There is no discrimination. तू कोण आहे, मी कोण आहे असं बघून ते पंक्तीला बसत नाही. There is no पंक्ती प्रपंच also over there. That is the human right. That is the strength of human right, which is there in our Indian culture, or rather it is globally also. No one is bothered about. My brother was there working with United States of America, and at the time when Ronald Reagan was a president, and he told me, my elder brother, that his gardener calls him Ronnie. My God, to the president, the gardener calls him by name. इथं माणसाकडे एक गाडी, एक फ्लॅट, बंगला सोडून द्या, तर तो असं साहेब, असा रुबाब. So this is what is important of the dignity. This is what is important as a human being. So what is important in human right? That you have to go hand in hand and to respect others. So Any questions? Till this, any questions? You, the girl who is in blue shirt with a pink bag, you, yes. Any questions, beta? Sit down, relax. What you heard? What you understood? Because you was not with me. I'm a teacher from last 20 years and I make out my children like this to see there in their eyes. Don't do this in your life. So what is important for us? The extraordinary judgments given by our great judges of our country. Great. Judicial activism of the court, Indian court, is extraordinary. Whatever is given to us in our fundamental rights, in our constitution, apart from that, we are having more than 120 rights which is given under the public interest litigation which was being filed by various Indian citizens. The very famous Indian citizen, Mr. MC, who is no more, who was an advocate in Delhi High Court, he filed many cases against Government of India. Taj Mahal Emporium case, Ganga water pollution case. Now these are various numerous cases, very famous cases, wherein the justice is given to the people of this country. The very important justice, that is Environmental Protection Act. There is no Noise Pollution Act. We do have this Water Pollution Act and the Air Pollution Act. Then Mr. Murli Devra, MP, then MP, he is no more, his son is now MP from Mumbai. So he had filed a writ petition in Mumbai High Court against smoking in public places. Now near the institute, in 100 meters there should not be a smoking zone. That is a requirement of university under the UGC. If it is so, then it amounts to an offense actually. Then what is important for us, whatever the aspect of the human life is to be protected. So the flight is not for only about the status, forget about only the women, about the status of individual, but the individual to be protected. The person's human worth, what is the human worth? A person may be behind the bars, he may be in jail, he may be the inmate in the jail, but फिर भी his right has to be protected. You all know about Charles Shobraj. You know, Charles film bhi aayi thi. Now Charles Shobraj, who was an inmate and he was a drug peddler, for many years he was being inmate in the Indian jails. He has written a book and the royalty was actually very heavy royalty he got from his book, because all his acts, criminal acts, he has narrated everything in that particular book. So you are having the right of education when you are an inmate. Husainara Khatun was in jail for 13 years. She has written one postcard to Supreme Court of India that I am an inmate in Tihar jail and please protect me. Inmate means she is behind the bars and no trial. Under trial prisoner bolte usko. So she was an under trial prisoner and now I wanted protection, please give me relief. Already she was for 13 years, she was behind the bars, then she was being relieved immediately and it becomes a law. So you cannot keep a person. Within 24 hours you have to present before that, before the nearest of the police station, say like nearest of the, in that particular jurisdiction, the person should be taken. If it is Friday evening, yesterday evening, that Gunaratna Sadavarte is being arrested. Yesterday was Shukravar and today is Saturday, tomorrow is Sunday. And everywhere, all over the country, we are having Chutti ka court. Everywhere. So that the police cannot dump anyone. Aryan Khan ka case humne bahut chav se dekha hai, so you must be knowing about it. When he is being represented in the court. Every person, that is also human right. You cannot, even if the police is having no dushmani against any criminal, actually. And no judge is having. It is all very transparent system. Justice system is a very transparent system. Now all these beautiful women, your and my mother is also there. Please see her into these pictures because she has given us birth and that is the human right of her, that we should give her love and respect. I'm going to skip about the women empowerment. because all my dear girls over here, they are already empowered and they know about their careers, their guidance and everything. And for that purposes, we do have, the government is taking many agencies are there who takes care of the women empowerment. You all know about the entrepreneurs. Many of you may continue with the corporates, but there are some of them may start with their own companies. I know that now Sadiq sir is also here, that he is having his own company, right? So what is important for us to start? For that purposes, we are having many yojnas which is being given in our country, Swaran Janti Yojana, and there are many for the girls especially. In the Startup India, we are having many startups where you are being given the capital from the Nationalized Bank. In the pandemic, we are having the Banking Regulation Act 2020 is being introduced by our minister, Mrs. Nirmala, in house, and she mentioned it that you need not to give taxes. कुछ नहीं देना है, income tax नहीं देना है for this pandemic era, which is very fantastic, isn't it? Then when we talk about the legislations, in the beginning of my session, I have given one slide where I mentioned about the legislature, executives, and judiciary. These are the three important pillars of our democracy. Three important pillars. Judiciary is supreme. Legislature, which is being made by the people who are having the government is having will and wish to pass the legislation. That is very important. When we talk about in 1980, this particular machine came, that is being called as sonography machine, came from Germany in Punjab, and Punjab se in Maharashtra. And when it was being introduced in Maharashtra, the Maharashtrians just wanted to know about the sex of the child in the womb of the mother, which is wrong. We just wanted to know about the condition of the womb in the mother's and the child, what is his condition, whether he is safe or she is safe. But we did something very wrong, and that's why the ratio of the females was being gone down. Now, when we talk about the legislature, which is a very important aspect of the democratic country, we have seen. I am giving you the example of Sri Lanka. I am giving you the example of Pakistan, Afghanistan. तो पूछो मत, तालिबान ने उनको conquer करके finish कर दिया. Now we are the one who respect law, and we wanted the law should be protected. Okay, that's why we are having some of the important legislations in the interest of the human rights. Article 14, 15 prohibits the discrimination of the sex. 16, equality of the opportunity of the employment. Rather, the employment you are having the special provisions are being laid down, or special employability is being given, reservations are there for the female candidates. Article 73rd and 74th amendment for the reservation of the sex in the house. Then these are some of the criminal under the Indian Penal Code, Bharatiya Danda Samhita. Have you heard about it? So 304B. This act is being written by the Britishers in 1830. 1830 was passed in India in 1860. 1860. उसके बाद we made hardly 4 amendments to this. 304B. Murder of the women in connection with the demand of dowry, the greed of dowry. The greed of dowry, which has given the deaths of many of the girls in this country. 498A, 498A, cruelty to the girl. Within 7 years, if she is died, and if it is a suspicious death, then it is a criminal offence, non-bailable offence against whom? Against the in-laws. Then, of course, 376. After the Nirbhaya's case, we are having the amendment to this particular section wherein the punishment is 7 years. Now from section A to F, it has been given various acts of a male member who is attacking, assaulting, raping that rapist. It is being defined elaborately after the Nirbhaya's case, because it was a great agitation all over the country and a debate was being going on, because it is about the families to make the children's, the boys, to understand their counterpart, their friend, their sister, their neighbor is also having that status, and that is all about the cruelty against womanhood. A Bangladeshi girl before this Nirbhaya's case was raped in the railway compartment ka meeting room. The court has punished not only the rapist or the person who is accused in this case, but punishes the Indian Railways by giving compensation, compelling them to give compensation to that girl 1 lakh rupees for her dignity and the chastity of the women. We all have seen that Pink film, and Amitabh Bachchan ka that famous dialogue, no means no, because marital rape is also being considered in 376. In a day, last week only I have read one very fantastic article in Times of India. It is all about the complaint of girls about the marital right. Then there are many other things which is being considered as a relationship within the families. We all know about Savitribai Phule. We all know about that Savitribai and Mahatma Phule was not having their own issue. They have adopted a child. The child who belongs to the lady who was a widow Brahmin, and she was actually being raped at that time, and she was conceived a child. That child they have adopted. I worked for Mahatma Phule Smarak when I was corporate, and I felt so great in my life that I have done something when that Smarak was being actually built in Ganzapet. So this is very important for us, that when we give the respect to the humanity, when we talk about that particular child and the mother also. So we are not compelling. Nowadays surrogacy is very famous. Amongst the youngsters it is really very famous, and rather the people who are having ample of money, they are going for the surrogacy. As we know about Shah Rukh Khan and other Khans, they are having third and fourth child also. It's good. They are giving some parenthood to someone, but it is against human right actually, because the mother who gives the birth to the child, one of my friends, she's a principal in one of the law college, she did her PhD into this particular, because it is a natural right of that mother when she gives the birth, and then the child is being taken away. That is also against the human right, and it is a challengeable. Like right to life or die. Euthanasia, Ichhamaran is not allowed in our IPC. There are many petitions has been filed for that purpose. Euthanasia, Ichhamaran. It is not allowed in our country. So when we talk about the Indian Penal Code, which is related, the offences are related for the protection of the human right, especially for the females and for children's, age-old people, or the people or the person under section 125 of the CRPC, if the parents are old and there are two daughters, myself and Vidya. Now the parent says that the daughter should look after us. And after the marriage, it is the duty of the in-laws also and the son-in-laws also to look after the parents. And if they go in the code of law saying that we are unable to maintain ourselves, that is a definition given under section 125 of the CRPC. Very famous case of Shah Banu's case. At the age of 70, she fought this against her husband for maintenance. Maintenance is very important. When you marry, Supreme Court has mentioned it in one of the judgment. Even if you are a beggar, it's a fact. So this is what is important or the importance of the human right. Where she will go? Earlier, before 2000, the maintenance was given 500 rupees. 500 रुपयामध्ये रोज चहा पण पिला तरी बाई जगू शकत नाही. And if she is having not shelter on her head, where she will go? Now it is 2000 rupees compulsory, minimum 2000. And then if he is a builder or if he is having lots of money, then she can have a share in the property. You may be knowing about the Akshay Khanna and Twinkle. Twinkle is taking every time, whenever he is making any agreement, madam, she takes half of the share on her account. Forget about that accounting and the income tax wala thing, but it is a right of a female. And now very reportedly, now we have made certain changes for after 1994 for girls, especially after the marriage, she is owning the property of her father with her brothers equally, and not her cousins. चुलत भावांना नाही मिळणार, पहिलं मुलीला मिळणार. After 1994, the girls who are getting married, father's is yours, your husband's is yours, and yours is yours. So you are actually really very rich. But for that purposes, you should have understanding that particular aspect of the contracts. The legalities behind it. What is being called as Stridhan? At the time of marriage, whatever is being given to the girl, it's being called as a Stridhan. From her in-laws, from her parents, from her friends, and her own property. Nowadays, I know this particular generation, they wanted to collect money for their marriage and they wanted to have a function. That's great. We also love to attend your marriages for that matter. So because it is all about the dignity. Yesterday only one of my students, she's young and she wanted to get married. She told me, Madam, my father asked them that you give half of the share. If you want a grand ceremony of marriage, then you have to pay half. There's nothing wrong. And this generation, I know that he's also ready to give a half share in his marriage. That's great. So we are having ample of rights, which is based on human rights, actually. Dowry Prohibition Act what we are having, and I hope over here all my dear girls and my dear boys will not take dowry and they will not give dowry. No dowry, nothing. It is an offense. It is an offense against the humanity. It is an offense against the dignity. It is an offense against the society. Whatever, I have a daughter, and in my interest, if I wanted to give something to my daughter, it is her property. It is her right. And it is my duty to look after my child, and it is my duty to look after my child in a sense that to protect her from anything, any problems, any issues for that matter. Then we are having the Factories Act. As I said, that the Factories Act is being started in our country 18th century, late of 18th century and the beginning of the 19th century. We are having many amendments to this act, which talks about the health, safety and welfare of the workers. Again, human right. The person who is working in the industry, it is a duty to have of the employer to give him protection or safety from the machines. Health facility, urinals, separate urinals for the girls and for the boys. Then the cleanliness, painting, washing, cleaning, everything is mentioned from section 11 to section 50 of the Factories Act. Then they talk about the canteens, they talk about the creches, they talk about the recreation hall. Then they are having more further going towards the health of the person who are being called as a worker. Now, who is this worker who is being defined under the Industrial Dispute Act as a worker? Then he is being compensated under the Workmen's Compensation Act if anything goes wrong while going towards his job. So in the duration of or in the course of the employment or during the course or at the place of employment, if anything goes happen, it is being called as notional extension theory. Under the notional extension theory, if anything goes wrong, again it is a human right of the worker, which is compulsory under the labor laws. That's why labor laws is very important, and it's being called as a social justice legislation. It is for the society. It is for the people who are underprivileged, and they need to be protected. And we are having the act. It is compulsory. It is not will and wish of the employer. It is must. You have to pay. You have to give gratuity. Compulsory. You have to give PF. If not, the person who is being called as an in charge or the occupier or the person who is a manager goes behind the bars under the latest act which is being amended in 2020. Then our bonus, 8.33%. Earlier we used to give the bonus. It was compulsory. Now it is 10%. In pandemic, Madam Sitaraman has declared that need not to give. It can be carried forward. So it is being carried forward for last 2 months because company was being shut down. Second pandemic में लोग वापस आ गए, उन्होंने 700 rupees का वो certificate दिखाया जो गलत था. But फिर भी it is all about, my dear children, it is all about the poverty. It is all about the need. It is all about the family has to be maintained by the person who is in charge of that family. So everything is all come under these particular legislations. Protection of the domestic violence. Women's Reservation Bill, Sexual Harassment Act, I am having a separate some presentation for that. Now, as I mentioned, some of the yojanas, some of the schemes of the government. Support of the training program, as I mentioned it to you about the entrepreneurship. Have you heard about the entrepreneurs? Do you know entrepreneurs in our country? The extraordinary entrepreneurs are there who have started, and for that purposes we are having the incubation sale. In Startup India or Make in India, we are having crores of rupees is being given by the government of India, nationalized bank to start a company. I know many IT companies started by the youngsters like you. Then we are having many yojanas, especially for the girls also. Short stay home, that is very important. Short stay home. The concept of short stay home is also when the girl is being actually deserted from the family, or if she is not comfortable with the family, there is apprehension of death or cruelty against her. So in that case, it is the duty of the state to give her short stay home. Administrative machinery for that purposes, we are having national commissions, Women Commission, then we are having the NHRC, National Human Rights Test Commission, National or the State Human Rights Commission, and we are having all this child development, Rashtriya Mahila Kosh Central for the Welfare Board. Thank you. So this is what is important for all of us to understand about the various or awareness. What I feel is that if I don't know about my rights, if I don't know if I am being assaulted, if I am being harassed, where to go? In my slum, if the lady is getting hurt by her family, she immediately goes to the Mai Bap Sarkar, that is the nearest of the police chowki. She knows that her right will be protected over there. So the women development corporations or the national vocational training centers, Vivida Kaushalya Yojanas under the Pune Municipal Corporation and all corporations in Mahanagarpalikas and Nagarpalikas, we are having the social welfare department. A very big budget is there with the social welfare department. Your fees is also being given by the social welfare department. Samaj Kalyan, to be bharta na form sagale. So this is all about the training centers are also there. Kaushalya Vikas, there are various trainings is being given. Your MSCIT, one of my friends, she is having unit in Yeroda, madam. She is having more than 1,500 computers and more than lakhs of the students. You are the elite class, but the after 12th or after graduation, those who knows about the MSCIT or they are being recruited because of that. Okay, if anyone wants any placement, please tell Mega madam, I will communicate. In Yeroda, if you are staying, we are having lots of opportunity over there. So the critical areas, now it is all related to our human rights, to be protected. Okay, so it is all about the, as I mentioned, about the declination of this sex ratio, women and health, violence against women, unorganized sector. You all know about the workers who are working under the seasonal factories. Just now we have finished with the Maproka strawberry season. Then the sugarcane, oos todni kamgar. There are many sectors which is being called as an unorganized sector. Organized sector people, they can go for the unions, trade unions and all that. But those who are not with this, they have to have their own organization. For example, in Pune we are having Hamal Panchayat. I am a member of. Nitin Pawar is there, who is looking after Baba Adav sir, who is also very stalwart in this particular field, who is looking after the Molkarni Sangatna. खूप important आहे. पेंडेमिकच्या काळामध्ये सगळ्यांनाच खूप प्रॉब्लेम झाला होता. नो दिस इज समवेअर इट हॅज टू बी प्रोटेक्टेड. अगेन इट इज अन ह्युमन राईट फॉर अन पीपल who belongs to the very small peer group in the society, but that is also very important aspect of it. Women and the environment for the media. In media, I always give the example where in media the girl is being shown or the lady is being shown indecent representation of the women. Agar Blair ka advertisement hai, the girl is being shown. Underpant ka advertisement, the girl is being shown. Thumbs up hai, ya whatever it is being. Why? It is all every time she is being shown. So it is amounts to an indecent representation of the women. And the media, how they use. So that is also against the human right. And we are having, it is being challenged in court of law in Hyderabad. A beauty contest was there and it was being challenged in the High Court of Hyderabad. And then it was being contested matter and the judgment is given in favor of the NGO. It is not necessary to have a representation, that to be indecent representation of the women. So the women are extreme in poverty, widows, deserted or the victims of the sexual offences and domestic violence. We are having the Act, Domestic Violence Act 2005 in our country. Political empowerment, we all are agree with this, that political empowerment is superior in our country actually. Because we are having that bill which is being passed and then we are having the bill which is being again passed. So empowerment of women is very important. As I am just giving and I am just giving you some of the important legislation because that is for what we have actually planned this particular session. In nutshell, I will tell you about the Maternity Benefit Act. Now the as I told you that in 2017 we are having the changes amended. So 6 months paid leave is being given. And the paternity leave is also being given to the father as well in this Maternity Benefit Act, which is being amended in 2017. We will not go into details of it, but I would like to tell you, my dear girls, that it is not only for the giving birth to the child. It is prenatal, postnatal, as well as it is for any of the gynecological problems. It may be for the abortions, MTPs, or any issues related to the health, which is related to the gynec problem, is also over here. And the medical benefits are also being given under the Maternity Benefit Act. Paid leaves are being given. Again, that is very important aspect of the Maternity Benefit Act. And this is what is the important provisions of this 2017. The Rajya Sabha has declared that this particular act should be given the importance for the females, for their motherhood and the parenthood of the child to be protected. So this act is applicable to all the factories. Now factory, what is being factory? That is being defined in our Factories Act. Where the 10 people are working. When the 10 people are working and when they are applying the electricity, the mode of electricity is very important over there. And that is being called as a factory. So almost all factories, they do have more than 10 people. So this particular act is applicable to all the factories. So in a nutshell, we are going fast. Some of the important key highlights for that. So increase in the maternity benefit. So this is in the 2017, we are having certain increase in the benefits which is being given paid leaves to the females. And prenatal and postnatal services is also being given. Creche facility, which is again being mentioned in our Maternity Benefit Act as well as under the Factories Act about the creche. Where the 50 and more women are working, the creche facility should be given. Then the feeding breaks are also being given to the female. So for next 6 months, when she join 6 months, after the 6 months and next 6 months, so almost for 1 year, she can go home and she will be given 50 minutes ka feeding break. So she can bring her child if she is working in the factory, which is so far from her house. Over there, the creche facility is available. So the child is being looked after by the maushis over there or ayahs over there in that particular creche. If not, she can go home and can feed her child because which is very important aspect of our Maternity Benefit Act. Now this is a very interesting act, as I mentioned to you, that about the equality. Equal Remuneration Act, which is being passed actually by the Britishers. Then we have again amended in 1976. There is no discrimination absolutely in male and female. Then I told you the Sudha Murthy ji ka story also, some of you know about it. Article 39 of the Constitution states about the citizens, which is being treated very equally. There is no discriminations. That's why the opportunities and the employability is also equal. And the status is also equal and the remuneration is also equal. The pay scales is also equal. There is no discrimination at all. So there is equal pay for equal work. Article 16, so there is no discrimination of the sex in eligibility about it. Same work for the same work for the similar nature. The work, if you are the MCA graduate, and in that case IT engineers are also along with you because the slash is given in the advertisement, that is what is being seen. So equal work, and for the equal work, equal payment will be given if it is being about the skills, any of the skills, the technical skills, because you are technically, you are very sound. So in that case, the technical skills and the efforts which is being put forwarded by you, and what is the responsibility is being given to you in that matter. So this particular section 2 subclause H has defined that. Now this is very interesting and very important act. In this modern era, we need to know about it. I'll tell you the background of this particular act. Vishakha, one of the NGO from Delhi, they have filed the writ petition in Delhi High Court. An Anganwadi teacher was being raped in Rajasthan. So the case name is State of Rajasthan versus Vishakha. Vishakha was an NGO. Now this NGO filed a writ petition in Delhi. Why? Because the accused in this particular gang rape was being acquitted. No punishment was being given to 7 accused at all levels, at the district level, high court level. So the Vishakha has taken initiative and they have filed a writ petition in the High Court of Delhi. And the judgment given, then that case was being appellate court has went to the Supreme Court. And the Honorable Supreme Court of India have given the milestone judgment in this particular case. Wherever these girls or women are working, there should not be any harassment. Now what is being called as a harassment, that is what is explained in this particular case. So all my dear girls over here, you are stepping out from this pampered life, because we are looking after our children to grow in life in such a way, and there should be safety and security at the workplace. That is very important. Indian parents are pampering their children till the end of their life, parents' life. So, jab tak bachcha hai to bachcha hi hai apne liye. So that is not expected in the outside world, because outside world is not a rosy picture. Absolutely. So it is not only the lesson for the girls, it is for the boys. I have handled hundreds of cases. I am a member of the ICC committee member for state government of Maharashtra for 2 to 3 organization and in industry also. There are a number of cases wherein the boys is being harassed by the counterparts or the female members. Fake cases. Not always, of course, but there are many occasions it happens that there are fake cases. So what is important? That women should not be subjected only because she is a woman. She should not be subjected, that is what is expected. And Honorable Supreme Court of India has come up with 17 guideline principles which mentions that when the girl is working, when the woman is working, she should be safe and she should not be seen as she is being एक उपभोग्य वस्तू म्हणून बाईचा कधीही उल्लेख करता कामा नये. So she should not be joke. बाई चालवते ना गाडी म्हणूनच ऍक्सिडेंट होत आहे. She should not be joke at all. It happens many times. He is laughing, so he must have been mentioned that. So there should not be any fear. If she is working outside, she should not be afraid of anything. She should have that particular courage to go outside. If tomorrow she is being given an opportunity by her company to go abroad, to go in the Gulf countries or maybe in USA or UK, she should have that courage because she has been taught in such a way that in this world you can achieve the success by your talents. So it is all about the workplace. Sexual harassment of any type, bullying or coercion. What is coercion? It is an influence. Coercion, dabav. Okay? So the coercion of the sexual nature, unwelcomed and inappropriate promises or the rewards or exchange of anything. Or any favoritism. So favoritism to her and not to her, which creates a discrimination between two females, which amounts to a sexual harassment to one lady. Sexual harassment engross the violation of the women's rights. It is against the human rights, about the equality and dignity of that particular person. So this particular act tells us, section 2 subclause N defines it, what it amounts and sexual harassment. A physical contact or advances or demand of anything. Sexually colored remark, you are looking very beautiful, this color looks very nice on you. Oh wow, now you are in today's in sari. Why? And if you wanted to appreciate someone with that intention, it amounts to a sexual harassment. Showing pornography pictures, now you are all IT engineers for me, so you know about all the explanation about it. Offensive or degrading pictures or cartoons, something like that, which creates an impression to the other lady, which is very, she felt it very, the person is having something in his mind to create the anxious feelings. Now what is there in my mind, the mens rea or the guilty mind, which is there in the mind, which has to prove in the court of law. The guilty mind of the accused has to be proved. It is a duty of the police officer that she was having the intention to show. That's why it is guilty mind, which is difficult. Proving the guilt of the accused in the court of law is very important in law. खयाली पुलाव नहीं चलता. Your Honor, इस केस में मुझे ये कहना है, in between nobody can enter. It amounts to contempt of court. It is there only in the Hindi films. It implies any type of promises or the treatment which is being called as an unequal treatment amongst the employees. So if madam is leading this particular course and she is having 4 ladies and 5 male members, so there should not be discriminating treatment among the male members and the female members, only because she is a female boss. On the contrary, if vice versa, if a male boss is there and he is giving some more favors, I always tell my dear friends, never take leave telling to your boss that मेरे घर में कुछ आज program है and I want to leave. मेरा बच्चा बीमार है. You are a counterpart with your male members, so you are having that courage to face all the problems and issues which comes across. Humiliating treatment. Some people are wanted to humiliate you, insult you in such a way which creates you are discouraged and you are not performing well. Once you are not performing well, then also they are having problem. So this is what is also amounts to a in humiliation. I have conducted certain cases for this. So you have to prove. In one of my case, ST, I am member, ICC member for ST, Maharashtra State ST, and a lady conductor hold the collar of a officer. And he was a very young boy, very handsome, charming person, 35-year-old. तो म्हटलं मॅडम माझं करिअर बरबाद होईल बाईने माझ्यावर ॲलिगेशन लावले. So this is what is important, my dear boys. You have to be very particular while sending messages. Now you are IT people, you know better. Whatever you are saying, it is being seen in the night when you are chatting with your friend. It is being seen in the cybercrime department of Pune Pune Commissioner Office, and all over the world actually. So this is all about some of the pictures where it shows that it is a human right. This is very important. As a human, you have to be dignified life. I am a human and I have a dignified life for others also. So in that case, if you crack any jokes, which is discrediting someone else, which is insulting someone else, which is discriminating, some of the people they are not that much fashionable, but your conduct, you are going in corporate, my dear students. So your conduct, your style, your attention is very important. Now the girl who is in blazer because she wanted to do anchoring, which is the uniform of yours, it shows that the conduct and the discipline of the course, which is being monitored by others. I'm against over here. So I have monitored it, and I've seen that this particular girl, as she has been told by Vidya madam, ki udya tula anchoring karayचं तू uniform मध्ये ये. She is there. Now this is what is very important as a conduct, and when that conduct is being discriminating, that is also amounts to an offence under this particular act. Using the gender bias. If you are a lady, you don't understand. The ladies was being appointed in Maharashtra Police in 1985, yeah, 1985. Till 2000, they were having the sari as their uniform. Many of my friends are there, and they have to fought against with the government. Ki give us the uniform, pant shirt. आता दिले त्यांना 2000 सालामध्ये 2001-2 मध्ये दिले त्यांना uniform. Gender bias. They were never been given any independent positions or the responsibility as an in charge of the police station. But now there are many others are there. Okay. So this is all about the discriminating thought process. Indians' thought process. That's why we do have that. Making the offense gesture and using the indecent language. Before this pandemic and all that, we used to have the Ganapati festival. It's a very famous festival in Pune. And from my childhood, I used to go with my father. Now he's no more, unfortunately. But we used to go to see the scenes in Ganapati festival. And over there, we are having the police friends, who are the members like you, the youngsters, like boys and girls are also. They are the part of it. In between, if any gestures or any touch which is unseen. In our schools also, the bad touch and good touch is being taught to the children nowadays. It is important. Hugging and touching, or the molestation, direct molestation. I have seen in buses, in the public transport also, which is being seen. That's why nowadays the PCMC is also having the cameras, which is very important in your institution from the entrance to the exit. You are, the surveillance is there. It is important. Is it possible outside? Now you will work in the corporate, so definitely you will come across with this. So whatever is shall be controlled. That is the human right of the humans. So this is all about the human right and making the gender in mainstreaming. We have to uplift both men and women. It should not be separation of the. It is always been said in general that all the acts in favor of the females. It is not so. Please understand this. But though in our country they are being suppressed, it is a male-dominating society. So we wanted to give the upliftment to the masses. Swami Vivekananda, Mahatma Ji and all they have said about or they have talked about the female upliftment, because these two people or the two mainstream, that's why I mentioned it, that is the mainstreaming of it, of the society. The upliftment and giving the status and the dignity equally is very important for that matter. So we do have many research and analysis also for that matter, and we are having certain strategies. Now in your generation, I know that the empowerment for you, that is what you have seen from your childhood. For my mother, she is 10th, in Zilla Parishad, she was a topper from Nagar district at that time. And she told me that she has to roam from one place to the 4-5 places for her education, 70 years back. Now it is not the case. So this is what is being called as a social change. That is the empowerment for me. So when we are talking about the corporates, when we are going in the corporates, we have to have that organization should have the transformation, and it is there. In corporate, as I said, that Omkar is being known as Omkar only. Only the HR department will have his all details for his salary purposes, for his leave purposes, for his appraisal purposes. That's all. Okay. So it is all about the other programs we need to handle for the purposes of giving the human right to all members of the society. Leadership is very important. They should have that equal balance for both, and there are many expectations from the leadership, not only at the local level but at the national level as well. So what is important for the human right? That you have to respect others, you have to give and protect, and of course the support is very important in that sense. Okay. So with this, I would like to conclude my session, absolutely in time. But I welcome the questions, and if no questions, there is no point to come here and to discuss 2 hours with you about the human rights. It is not necessarily the question only for the human rights, but any other things, any laws. I'll try to solve your query or your difficulty or your any interest to know about anything. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Yeah, please.
Yeah, in the workplace, if it is related to the harassment, and if the male colleague is saying every day the same thing, that you are looking very beautiful to the female, then how to deal with this situation?
Madam, we are having the internal complaint committee into this particular act. This act is being called as a Sexual Harassment Act. The judgment given in 1997. Uske baad we made an act in 2013. Sexual harassment at the workplace. And if he's saying this, then you have to complain first, because we don't want a lot of burden on the courts now. So we can solve the issues within. So we are having the internal complaint committee. It is at all levels. In your college also you must be having that committee. So it is being headed by the principal or the head, and then we are having the, we used to have that committee.
Treated as a part of the appreciation that
No, it is not appreciation. If it is every day, that is not appreciation. But not every day. If it is every day, then it amounts to an aggression to that lady, and she can make a complaint to in writing. You have to give it to the writing. The writing ka one copy is going for the internal complaint committee. On that complaint, that person is being called, and the say of him is being taken. The lady is being called. Then together will come together or in front of the committee, and the expert like me, law expert who is being appointed, it may be there in your college, for example, and the person who is an outsider, social worker or the legal expert like me, they are the members of the committee. So it is not within. So the outsider is also there. The report, if she is not satisfied, then she can go in court of law. But it is very serious. It is really very serious.
Actually, many ladies treat it as the part of the appreciation.
They should not. They should not. They should not. My dear girls, you should be very, very particular, very punctual, very alert. It is not only for the girls, it is for my dear boys also. It may happen at any time, anywhere. That Maushi bought 4 glasses of water for me. I am really thankful to her. Now if I say Maushi, ki pani ana, whether it amounts to any of the, it is her duty, right? For that purpose she is being appointed. Then in that case, I have handled case where it was a case of atrocity. So awareness of law is very important, but you need to accept that thing in a very positive way. There are 2 things, positive attitude and negative attitude. If you want to harass someone and you are lodging a case, in one of my case, a Dadi was 80+ years old. She was in coma and the lady mentioned under section 498 that she is harassing me. The court asked her, the lady who is in coma on the deathbed, how she will harass? So I have conducted sessions to the police officers for that matter, how to take the complaint. Many times it is being seen that the complaint is also fictitious complaint, which will not stand in court of law. Document speaks in court of law. Whatever you say, it has to be proved. The burden lies on the shoulder of the person who goes in court of law. If the lady says that he appreciated me, she should record it every day. And that recording will be amounts to an evidence under section 45 of the Indian Evidence Act, which will give a strength to that case. And nowadays in every mobile we are having the recording system. So then in that case it is being considered as an evidence from her point. Otherwise, if I say that Manisha madam tumi chan dista, that's all. So that is what appreciation. One article series was there in Lok Satta, and I was a part of. I used to write into that. So every day, if it is being appreciated, like if tomorrow Omkar tells me that madam your saree's color is very nice. So as a child, I appreciate it and I am thankful to him. He is giving me some compliment. But that compliment need not be in such a way which creates an insult to me or creating a fictitious complaint against him. That is very important. So it can be called as an do dhari talwar. When you make a complaint, your conscience should be very clear. Court expects that you go with the clean hands. That is expected. That is being presumed. When I say that I am Shah Rukh Khan's wife, I am not Gauri Khan, you all know about it. I have to have the evidence for that purposes. Registration of marriage ka registered certificate, if I have, then I can claim that. Claiming something in the code of law, when you go in any authority, it is being presumed that you want the justice. ऐसे उठ के कोई नहीं जा सकता कोर्ट में. If you are doing that, then it amounts to an offense. If you are giving oath, Dubai se phone aaya, you remember Satya film. So if you are giving and you are being considered as a hostile witness, माफीचा साक्षीदार नाही, hostile, म्हणजे साक्ष खोटी साक्ष देतो, त्याला 7 वर्षाची शिक्षा आहे. So it is very serious. So whenever you must have been done your affidavits for ragging, first year student na. So ragging के लिए you have to submit the affidavit to your authorities. You will not rag, seniors rag you, but ultimately we authorities, we colleges always take it from the first year students. When second year you will go, you will not doing any ragging to your first year students. That affidavit is having a legal values in the eyes of law because it is being signed by you, that person who is being called a notary under the Notaries Act. Everything is legalized in our country, our birth act. From the birth act we are getting the certificate which is being called as a birth certificate. When I will die, my son will take me there to Vaikunt. For that matter, he needs death certificate. So everything, every step of my life is being governed by law within the four corners of that, because I am staying in a civilized society and I am a good human being. For that matter, my country, my state, my city has given and protected my rights as an individual, safety and security and everything. That's why human rights is very important. You have to protect. अगर आपको अच्छा चाहिए तो आपको चाहिए कि कचरा आप बाहर ना फेंके, बिकॉज गंद नहीं आएगी ना खराब. Likewise, your mentality, your hospitality, everything should be good. Anything else? Backbenchers, boys, they have listened very carefully. Anything? Yes. घाबरणाऱ्याला Okay, I'll tell you. So all this young generation will have a contract with the company, bond with the company, Lakshat Theva. So they will ask you to sign a bond. Now in Omkar's case, I don't know whether he has signed the bond, that he will give a notice to them. He will give a notice to them, a 1 month notice. And in that bond itself, it is being written, नेहमी व्यवस्थित वाचायचं. इन्शुरन्स कंपनीचे ते असे बारीक बारीक मुंगीच्या पायासारखे लिहिलेले असतात जे आपल्याला कळत नाही आणि इतके फास्ट बोलतात ॲडव्हर्टाइजमेंटमध्ये पण ते पण कळत नाही. So what is your right? As Omkar wanted to know that, what is my right? Whether I can contest that matter in court of law. And as he says that I wanted to give some money, my dear, you not to pay money. You can go before the authority as he was working as a manager over there, kiwa, not as a worker, okay, as an employee. But what was your status? Because in the labor laws, we are having the category as I mentioned about the workers, they can go to the unions. You can also go forward to the unions, and in the unions they can fight for you. And I know there are many unions in Pune where you need not to spend anything, but when the bond is being signed by you, you are obligatory. It is binding on you, and if you break the bond, you have to pay. Okay, I will tell you two very famous cases: Madhuri Dixit and Mahima Chaudhary. They have signed the bond with Ghai Production, and then in that case, Tezab become famous. She cannot act with others. That is the bond. That is the importance of your signature. Ignorance of law has no excuse. मुझे पता नहीं था मैंने क्यों साइन किया. Boss ने बोला, and we all are in a need of job. We the 15,000 crores people. Oh my God, such a big in the universe. Like in other countries, New Zealand is like our Mumbai. Mumbai's population is more than New Zealand country. And of course, we have to fight for our rights, Omkar. But only thing is that what you have done. In future, all of you, please remember this. Whatever you are going to sign, because in court, when the matter goes in court of law, companies having a lot of money, they can hire the lawyers, they do have their panel, and they can afford it. But you and me cannot afford. Actually, I am a lawyer, so I know that how much fees can be asked in the high courts and Supreme Court and all that, at the district level also. So, always keep your mind and your ears and to see what you are signing. It is not necessary only in the bonds, in a life also. If my girls are getting employment tomorrow, then your nominee will be your mother. After your marriage, your nominee should be your husband, and uske baad your children. Same with the boys. I handle this type of case under this accident claims. If the boy is not mentioning the wife's name, if it is not a registered marriage, if it is only live-in relationship, then what will happen to the girl? Please remember. The historical judgment given by the Pune Family Code under this live-in relationship from Hinjawadi, the girl says that I stayed with him for 4 years as a wife. So she wanted the maintenance. Maintenance is being given only to the legally wedded wife. The historical judgment given by the Pune Family Code, and she got the maintenance. So that's why I told you that judicial activism of the court is really very high. Indian talent or Indian courts judgments is very extraordinary. So in your complaint, my dear, you have to challenge them. But before that, you have to check your bond, whether you have completed all the necessary conditions before leaving your job. Within 1 month period, if you have given to them, and immediately if you have left, then you have to pay them. So that calculation you have to make. Otherwise, you can check any of the lawyer. Only you can take the consultancy. Not necessary to file a case. Anything else? No, nothing. Bhook lagli. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best, and you'll have a nice, fantastic careers in future, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable speech and the knowledge. This is my privilege to propose vote of thanks. I would like to thank our today's guest who honorable this function with his experience, valuable knowledge and valuable guidance. Now I would like to Thanks our beloved faculty members, students and my dear friends. Now, thank you. Stay here for the 10 minutes.